He is a man of religion, but his outspokenness on the issue of human rights, politics, and religion has made him no stranger to controversy. Meet Cardinal Joseph Zen. Born in Shanghai 88 years ago, he came to Hong Kong in 1948 and went on to become the 6th bishop of the country. Now he has spoken out against the secret deal between China and the Vatican, saying the deal betrays the 12 million Chinese Catholic population.
I don't even know the content of the agreement. The agreement is secret, even for me, a Chinese cardinal. But then you can guess that the content is not very important. Before this written agreement, there was a compromise in the nomination of bishops. They had a kind of secret mutual understanding, and then they tried to appoint somebody acceptable to both. Maybe not the best, but acceptable to both. But what happened in facts is very much alarming, because using this agreement, they did many very wrong things. So they actually never named any bishop in these 2 years. The 2 bishops ordained during the 2 years were already agreed upon years before, but then they legitimized 7 bishops, presenting it as a part of the agreement. But the agreement should be about the future bishops, not about the bishops they ordained many years ago. Now, the legitimization of those 7 is absolutely unacceptable. There were people completely working for the government, not for the church.
Cardinal Zen believes that the Vatican has gained nothing from the agreement and, in fact, has given legitimacy to Beijing and their ways of persecuting the Chinese Catholics.
Sometimes they say a bad agreement is better than no agreement. That's impossible to understand, because a bad thing is bad. And you may accept an imperfect agreement, but not a bad agreement. Now, actually, the agreement is very bad, because any agreement should be fair to both sides. And so both sides should gain something, but we gain nothing. And the government gained everything. Being secret, that agreement, the government used it to demand the faithful to do everything they want. For example, now they tell the underground, you just come up and join our independent church. The people say, no, it's not allowed. It's against our Catholic faith. They no, the Pope agreed already. But since the people don't know the content of the agreement, they are confused. It's really the Pope who approved all these things.
The Cardinal felt so strongly about the deal that he even flew to meet the Pope in Vatican City, but his trip was in vain.
On the one side, they say, we have no agreement with government so that the underground should come into the independent church. But then they encourage the clergy to accept, to sign a document for civil registration, in which they promise to become part of that independent church. That's terrible. That's why I took the flight next day to Rome. I asked the Holy Father to be present at a discussion between me and Cardinal Parolin. He was the author, obviously, of that document, but I could not have that. The Holy Father even invited me to a supper with parolin, but not to accept such a discussion. So I came back empty-handed, but actually not completely empty-handed, because I could see with my eyes embarrassment in the Holy Father, and so I cannot understand. But obviously, parolin, the Secretary of State, is manipulating the Holy Father. That's also very sad thing to say.
One of the sections harmed by the secret agreement are the followers of the underground churches, people who are faithful to the authority of the Pope.
The underground church means a church out of law, so against law, and so they can be any moment be arrested, brought to the prison, and then all other things. But actually, for many years, the government, in some places, sometimes, they even tolerated that underground community. Why? Because they are good people, hardworking, behaving very well. In villages where they are the majority, the people behave very, very well, and no fighting, no quarrels, and so they just wanted to be able to have a place for worship. So the government closed both eyes. And so in several places there were churches, buildings, even rather big buildings, and they can worship there. And in the big cities like Shanghai, obviously they cannot tolerate the churches, but they allowed the underground priests to say mass for their people, and everybody know that, could not be secret, but still it was tolerated. But 2 years ago, more or less the same time as they signed the agreement, the government started to enforce those laws, and so they take away the churches, because they say now you have to join the independent church. It's already recognized as the only church by the Holy Father. Then they told the priests in the underground, you cannot say mass anymore in secret. And the priests told their faithful not to go to their mass. They don't say mass for their people anymore because it's too dangerous. The government may arrest them, fine them, and they may lose all their money, their property, and then go into prison.
The Cardinal also believes that the Vatican is playing appeasement politics with Beijing.
Now they call this leniency, this appeasement, Ostpolitik. That means this is the method used by the German government, the West Germany, in relation with East Germany, the Ostpolitik, politic for the East. And the reason is, the foundation is that since the communists may be there for long, we have to engage them. We cannot ignore them in some way. Now, obviously, the Pope, the Vatican, is practicing that policy. And so the Pope, who is very courageous to blame a certain government for the unjust activity of those government, never said any word to tell the Chinese government that they should improve their human rights record, etc. They should grant the real religious freedom. So that's very sad. even people outside of the church, they say, why your Pope is not saying anything against what the China is doing. So it's very sad. It's very sad because the Pope has a spiritual power. He should use that power to encourage the government to do better, to change their ways. But seemingly, he believed that by this compromise, this leniency, he can get anything. But the facts show that he got nothing during all these years.
When asked whether he was scared of being arrested, this is what Cardinal Zen had to say.
But now, the central government made the law for us with no consultation, in the most harsh terms. So we lost everything, even the freedom of speech. For any wrong words we say, we can be arrested, brought to mainland China, no help from the lawyers, no visit by family members, or terrible law. And so some people ask, do you feel unsafe in Hong Kong? I said, nowadays, nobody in Hong Kong can feel safe, because we are under such a unlimited threat. And so it's very, very bad, very bad. It's a betrayal of what they promised us. All the nations and the people doing business with Hong Kong, they lost their confidence. They cannot trust the government anymore because we lost the rule of law. So it's really something terrible, a betrayal. We are really at the bottom of the pit. And so we hope that the whole world have noticed this terrible change of our situation, and they may encourage the Chinese government to be more wise. So it's really dangerous today. So I encourage also people to go away if they are in the position to do that, and especially those who have little children and they can go away. I say, okay, you go away and bring away your children, because here now the education becomes the brainwashing.
Cardinal Zen remains a critic of the Communist Party of China, despite a possibility that he might be arrested for his outspokenness. He says that while he is certainly worried about losing his freedom, he also believes God has given him the strength to carry out his duty. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.